The Three Little Builders and the Great Forest Adventure. In the heart of a green, whispering forest, where the trees swayed like dancers and birds sang sweet morning songs, three young brothers stepped out of their cozy tree trunk home for the very last time. Their names were Pip, Patch, and Pock. Pip, the youngest, had big, curious eyes and was always bouncing with excitement. Patch, the middle one, loved building things with his paws and had a habit of collecting interesting sticks. Pock, the oldest, was calm, thoughtful, and carried a rolled-up plan in his backpack, always ready for what might come. Today was no ordinary day. It was the day they would each build a house of their own. "Are you sure we're ready?" Pip asked, nibbling a carrot nervously. "Of course," Patch said, tossing his bag of twigs over his shoulder. "We've learned from the best, Grandpa Builder Pig himself." Pock smiled and looked at the sky. "We've got sunshine, tools, and time. Let's build something that lasts." The brothers hugged, then marched toward the open forest, each in a different direction. The journey had begun. 3 paths, 3 dreams, and 1 forest full of surprises. The breeze carried their laughter through the trees, but far away, hidden in the shadows, someone else was listening. A pair of golden eyes watched from behind a bush. A long, silent tail twitched. The forest had plans of its own. Pip skipped down a soft forest path lined with ferns and wildflowers, his tiny backpack bouncing on his back. The sunlight warmed his fur, and every butterfly he saw made him giggle. "I'm going to build the fastest house ever," he chirped. "Then I'll have time to snack, nap, and maybe even sing." After a while, he came across a big open field where golden straw lay scattered in piles, glowing like treasure under the morning sun. "Oh, wow," Pip gasped. "Straw is light and soft and smells like summer. This is perfect." Without a second thought, he tossed off his pack and began working. He gathered bundle after bundle, tying them with twine and stacking them up high. Pip sang as he worked. "Straw is sweet, straw is light. My house will shine so warm and bright." Soon, his house took shape. It wasn't tall, it wasn't strong, but it had a round door, a pointy straw hat of a roof, and a window made from an old pie tin. When he finished, Pip stood back proudly, paws on his hips. "Ta-da! I'm done before lunch." He plopped down outside his new home, munching on some nuts and humming a tune. The breeze tickled the straw walls, but Pip didn't mind. Far off in the shadows, however, the golden eyes blinked again. The wolf had seen the house, and he was very, very hungry. Deep in a grove where the trees grew tall and proud, Patch wandered with a thoughtful look. Unlike his younger brother Pip, Patch was in no hurry. He paused to examine tree trunks, listened to the birds, and tapped branches to test their strength. "I want a house that creaks with stories," he said, smiling. "Strong, cozy, and full of character." Soon, he found a clearing with scattered logs, fallen branches, and even an old wooden cart turned on its side. "Oh yes," he whispered. "Wood will do just fine." Patch rolled up his sleeves and got to work. He built slowly, placing each log with care. His paws moved quickly, hammering and stacking, whistling as he worked. He even carved little animals into the wood near the windows: squirrels, owls, and a sleepy bear. He sang his building song: "Wood is strong and full of cheer. My cabin's safe when storms are near." By the time the sun dipped behind the trees, Patch stood before a handsome log cabin with a slanted roof, a wooden door that creaked just right, and a porch made from repurposed wagon wheels. He wiped his forehead, proud and tired. "It's not the strongest house ever," he said, "but it'll keep me safe and sound." Just as he sat on the porch with a mug of warm berry tea, the bushes nearby rustled. Patch froze. 2 glowing eyes flashed, then vanished into the woods. The wolf was watching. While Pip had finished before lunch and Patch had wrapped up by sundown, Pock was still walking, eyes sharp, notebook in paw. He wasn't looking for speed or even beauty. He was searching for the perfect place, somewhere high, somewhere safe. At last, he reached a rocky hill with a wide view of the forest below. A bubbling stream ran nearby, and smooth stones rested beneath ancient trees. "This is it," Pock whispered. "A home that will last forever." He set down his plans and got to work. He chose thick stones, flat and heavy. He built the foundation deep and strong, layer by layer. Days passed, birds flew overhead, rain came and went. Still, Pock worked with patience, precision, and care. When he grew tired, he paused, not to rush, but to reflect. He whispered to himself, "Stone is slow, but never breaks. A shelter strong is what it takes." His house rose from the hill like a castle, with sturdy walls, a chimney that puffed gently, and a round wooden door that creaked like a friendly old tune. Inside, everything had its place. A stone fireplace, thick rugs, shelves carved into the walls, even a rain barrel outside for fresh water. When it was finally done, Pock stood at the top of the hill and gazed down at the forest, where 2 tiny homes twinkled below. "My brothers built with joy," he said softly, "but I built with time. This home will stand." He lit a lantern in the window. Down in the trees, a shadow moved. The wolf had seen it too, and this time, he began to grin. The next morning, Pip was dancing outside his straw house, spinning in circles with a ribbon he found by the stream. "Nothing like a sunny day in a finished house," he laughed. But deep in the forest, crunching footsteps echoed through the trees. A shadow stretched across the field. Then, a knock. Loud, sharp. Knock, knock, knock. Pip froze. A deep, scratchy voice followed. Little pig, let me come in." Pip peeked out the window and gasped. There, towering in the sunlight, was the big bad wolf. Eyes sharp, teeth gleaming, tail swishing. "Not by the fur on my chinny chin," Pip squeaked, ducking down. The wolf licked his lips. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." Pip covered his eyes. The wolf took a deep breath and blew. Whoosh! The straw house shook, then lifted into the air like feathers in the wind. Roof, walls, and door spun up and away, gone in seconds. Pip screamed and scrambled through the tall grass. The wolf laughed. Too easy! But Pip was fast. He darted through the forest, heart pounding, feet barely touching the ground. "I need Patch," he cried. "He'll know what to do." Behind him, the wolf grinned and followed the trail. The hunt had begun. Patch was brushing wood shavings off his porch when he heard frantic footsteps. Leaves rustled. Twigs snapped. "Patch!" cried a voice. It was Pip, bursting through the bushes, straw stuck in his fur and eyes wide with fear. "He found me! The wolf! He blew my house away!" Patch jumped up. "Slow down. What do you mean? He blew it away. All of it. One big breath and whoosh! Gone!" Patch blinked, then grabbed his hammer and shut the cabin door tight. "We'll be safe here," he said. "This cabin's made of wood, not fluff." They locked the windows and huddled near the fireplace. But outside, the wind grew quiet, too quiet. Then, knock, knock, knock. The same deep voice rumbled. little pigs, let me come in," Pip whimpered. Patch growled. "Not by the fur on our chinny chins." The wolf's voice dripped with glee. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." The brothers held their breath. Whoosh! The cabin groaned. The windows rattled. The front door bent like a bow. Another gust, louder, stronger. Crack, snap, smash. The roof split. Logs flew. The wooden door flew off its hinges. "Run!" Patch shouted, grabbing Pip's paw. They scrambled through the back window, tumbling into the ferns. The wolf roared with laughter, kicking aside the broken cabin pieces. 2 down, 1 to go. But the brothers didn't stop running. "There's still Pock," Patch gasped. "He built with stone." Behind them, the forest echoed with paw steps. The sun was dipping low when Pip and Patch, out of breath and scratched from brambles, finally reached the rocky hill where Pock lived. "Pock!" Patch shouted. "Open the door!" The wooden door creaked wide, and there stood Pock, calm as ever, holding a cup of tea. "What happened to you two?" "No time," Pip squealed. "The wolf blew our houses away." "He's chasing us," Patch added. "We barely escaped." Pock stepped aside quickly. "Get in, lock the door behind you." The stone house was warm and still. The fire glowed softly. Thick walls wrapped them in quiet. Pip collapsed on a rug. Patch paced near the window. Pock calmly poured another cup of tea. "I told you both. Building takes time for a reason." "But he's coming," Pip said. "He could be here any minute." Just then, the wind outside stopped. The fire flickered. Then, knock, knock, knock. A familiar growl followed. Little pigs, let me come in." Pock stood tall, arms crossed. "Not by the fur on our chinny chins." A pause. Then, that same chilling threat. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. The brothers braced themselves. The wolf blew once. The trees shook. The wolf blew twice. Dust lifted from the stones. He blew again, the loudest yet. Whoosh! But the house didn't move, not a single stone. Inside, Pip peeked through the curtains. He's getting tired. Patch grinned. It's working! The wolf stomped and growled outside, tail lashing with rage. But the house of stone stood tall and silent. Pock smiled. Now, let's see what he does next. Outside the stone house, the wolf paced. His fur bristled with frustration. His lungs burned from all the blowing. His pride bruised. This house is too strong, he growled. But I'm clever, and clever always wins. Inside, the three brothers watched from the windows. Why isn't he leaving? Pip asked nervously. Patch narrowed his eyes. He's up to something. Pock nodded. Wolves don't give up. They adapt. Outside, the wolf smiled slyly. He pulled a long stick from under his cloak. At the tip was a bundle of something dark and smoky. It's time for a little trick, he muttered. With quiet steps, he crept to the chimney. One paw, then the next. He climbed like a shadow, careful not to make a sound. Pip gasped. He's going to the roof. Patch ran to block the fireplace, but Pock was already ahead. Let him try, he said calmly. This house is ready for anything. Up above, the wolf stuffed the smoking bundle into the chimney and waited. But instead of smoke, he got a loud bang. A puff of soot shot out the top. The smoke rushed back up into his face. Coughing, sneezing, and tumbling, the wolf lost his balance. Whump! He hit the ground with a heavy thud. The brothers peeked outside. He fell off the roof, Pip whispered. He looks dizzy, Patch added. But Pock walked to the door and opened it just a crack. You tried tricks. You tried strength. But you forgot something important, he said. The wolf blinked, dazed. What? Pock smiled. Wisdom always wins. And with that, he shut the door. The tired, dusty wolf sat outside the stone house for a long time. His nose still twitched with soot, his pride completely crushed. He looked up at the sky. The clouds were glowing orange with the setting sun. The wind whispered through the trees. Birds were flying back to their nests. And for the first time, the wolf felt tired, not just in his body, but in the way he had been living. I spend my days chasing, blowing, scaring, and what do I get? Just bruises and scratches. Inside, the three little pigs watched quietly. He doesn't look angry anymore, Pip whispered. Or dangerous, said Patch. Maybe he's just tired of fighting, Pock added. The wolf let out a long sigh and stood up slowly. He walked to the door, but this time he didn't knock. I know I don't deserve it, he said, in the softest voice the pigs had ever heard. But may I say something? Pock gently opened the door. The wolf lowered his head. I'm sorry. The three brothers looked at each other. You chased us, said Patch. You destroyed our houses, cried Pip. But now you're here, and you sound honest, said Pock. The wolf nodded. I'm tired of being scary. I want to be better. A silence settled between them. Then Pock spoke. Anyone can change, if they truly want to. Pip's eyes widened. You mean, forgive him? Patch folded his arms, then sighed. Maybe everyone deserves a second chance. The wolf gave a shy smile. I truly thank you. And for the first time, the wolf didn't seem big or bad, just someone who needed a fresh start. The next morning, the sky was clear and the sun shone brightly over the top of the hill. Pip, Patch, and Pock woke up early. Something felt different. Outside, the wolf was working. With a shovel in his paws, he carefully dug the ground, cleared away branches, and sorted stones into neat piles. He didn't leave? Asked Pip, peeking out the window. He stayed to help, Pock replied with a small smile. Patch scratched his head. I never thought I'd see this. Throughout the day, the four of them worked side by side. The wolf helped gather the remains of the wooden house, cleaned the garden, and even laughed at himself as he tried to build a stone wall and accidentally knocked it over 3 times. Building isn't easy, he said, wiping the sweat from his brow. But it feels good. Pock nodded. Anything worth having takes time. Excited, Pip said, what if we build a new house for all of us? A house with 4 bedrooms, Patch chimed in. And a really big kitchen. And no chimney, the wolf joked, and they all burst out laughing. In the days that followed, a new house rose on the hill, strong, cozy, and filled with laughter. And when the forest animals walked by, they saw something they had never seen before: 3 little pigs and a wolf, living together like a real family. Time went on, but their story spread across the forest. A story not just about bricks or straw, but about forgiveness, effort, and new beginnings. Because in the end, it doesn't matter where you come from. What truly matters is who you choose to become.